Today, we're going inside mental toughness training at West Point. I'm Carmine Gallo with Professor Dr. Nate Zinsser. He is a director of performance psychology at West Point and author of The Confident Mind. It is permanently going to go on my bookshelf. Nate, thank you for having your publisher send me an advance copy. We're going to be talking leadership. We're talking motivation. We're talking confidence, and Nate's going to give us a battle-tested guide to unshakable performance. I'm nervous already. I'm on. The performance is on. Hello,
Let's
Nate.
do it. Hello, Carmen. Thank you so much for the invite. It's great to be here.
Yeah. Are you joining us from the historical West Point?
Indeed. I am sitting right in the Central Post area of the United States Military Academy, and it is a true honor to be part of this institution and serve the nation this way.
Nate, you have worked with Super Bowl MVPs like Eli Manning. You've worked with other athletes, superstar Olympians. What role does a psychologist like yourself play at a military institution?
Because the military is engaged in preparation and actual execution of the toughest performance situation of all. Ground combat, there is nothing more stressful, and what we can learn as we pursue an athletic career can actually enhance our ability to shoot, move, communicate, and execute the full range of our missions.
Understood. In The Confident Mind, which I love, told you we'll set it right there. In The Confident Mind, you've got these wonderful stories, especially about Eli Manning, who led the New York Giants to 2 Super Bowl victories as quarterback, MVP. You've got this wonderful story. In August of 2011, Manning set off kind of a firestorm in the sports world when he said, or he claimed, that he felt like he was in the top 5 of all quarterbacks, that he was in the same league as Tom Brady, who at the time had 3 Super Bowl victories. I think now he's got, 7 as we're talking. And Eli had 1, but you helped him gain the confidence to even get to that level where he can acknowledge that he was one of the best. And you called it achieving first victory. Can you explain that?
Sure. The term first victory comes from the writings of the Chinese military strategist Sun Tzu, who wrote in his classic treatise, The Art of War, the following: victorious warriors win first and then go into battle, while losing warriors go into battle and then hope to win.
Let me guess, right here, right? That's the win first.
That's right here. You have to win a victory against any kind of doubt, fear, worry, etc., before you can actually execute at the top of your ability. And that is indeed what Eli Manning and so many other champions have learned how to do. The mind precedes the body follows the mind. If you can agree with yourself that this is your moment, that you are indeed sufficient, talented enough, well-trained enough, that you're enough, then your body has a chance to do everything it's capable of.
Let's talk about the 4 mental pillars of unshakable performance. And as we go through each pillar, Nate, I'm looking at it through the lens of public speaking specifically, because that is where most people feel shaky and nervous, and they can use some of these pillars to elevate their performance. The first mental pillar of unshakable performance, mind-body connection. Explain that connection and why it's so important.
Sure. That term, mind-body connection, came into usage way back in the 60s, but we're still just beginning to understand it. It's the idea that your conscious thoughts, what you remember, what you tell yourself, that voice in the back of your head is creating a mood. And that mood, that emotional state, brings with it all kinds of physical changes: blood flow, muscle tension, hormone production. And those physical changes influence our execution, what we actually do when we are speaking, when we're taking a test, or trying to win a Super Bowl by throwing great passes. Everything that you think has a ripple effect down right through your body. So you have to be very careful about how you think.
I hope everyone watching, especially if you're a public speaker and you get nervous about public speaking, listen to what Nate is saying. The victory starts before you give a speech or a presentation. If you are constantly saying to yourself, I am not a good speaker, I am not a good presenter, guess what? You'll be right. First victory. I love it. Second mental pillar of unshakable performance: inevitable human imperfection. Nate, are you saying that striving for perfection is damaging?
Not necessarily. Striving perfection is a great thing to do,
Okay.
but demanding perfection of yourself and only allowing yourself to feel okay when you do achieve perfection is very damaging, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, you will never experience that kind of perfection. You will always be able to find some hole, some inadequacy, and you have to be very good at going for it time after time, striving to do your best. But when you don't achieve it, you can't beat yourself up too much.
I'm smiling because I play golf. And I love golf, and I love the mental game of it as well. And it's the fascinating thing is exactly what you're saying is we get all wrapped up in the perfect execution, the perfect swing, the perfect shot, and there is no such thing. And if you have a bad shot, then you really wrap yourself up and completely unravel. And that's why they say golf is 80% mental. There's even a book, Nate, called something like, I believe golf is not a game of perfect.
That book was written by my thesis advisor at the University of Virginia, Bob Rotella.
Yes.
I lived in that man's back pocket for 3 years learning my craft, and he put it very, very succinctly and very, very correctly. It's not about perfect. It's about doing everything you can to have a great stroke, to have a great shot, to have a great hole, to have a great round of golf. But at each moment where that perfection is not achieved, you have to be your own best friend, and you've got to be willing to put yourself right back into the best possible frame of mind for the very next shot.
I knew there was a reason why I liked your book so much. I love Bob Rotella's work in sports psychology, specifically golf. And so he was like your mentor?
Very much so.
Wow, that's terrific.
I was able to overhear conversations that he was having with the likes of Davis Love, Tom Kite, et cetera, Wonderful experience.
He completely changed the game of golf in terms of making it really focusing on the mental side. And now all the professional golfers have mental coaches, sports psychologists.
Indeed.
And it's wonderful. The third pillar of unshakable performance. This one's easier said than done, but I like where you're going. Fall in love with your butterflies. Nate, why do we need to fall in love with our butterflies? Aren't they there just to make us nervous?
No, your butterflies are there because your body will always produce a certain degree of physiological arousal when it's time to do something that matters.
Interesting. Probably even now, as I'm mentally waiting for you to get on this call.
There's a little bit of anticipation. Your heart's beating faster. Certain endocrine glands in your body are producing certain hormones, and that's the way the animal is wired to operate. We are hardwired as animals to experience this kind of energy surge. And I encourage people to think of it as rocket fuel, high octane, state-of-the-art performance-enhancing drugs that your body is naturally going to give to you. And because they have a few side effects, like your stomach rumbling up and down, it's time to make friends with your stomach rumbling up and down, because that's an indication that your body is doing exactly what nature designed it to do. Put you in an enhanced physiological state to do that speech, to give that performance.
Oh, so Nate, when my clients are telling me, and these are people who are leaders at a very senior level, and they get very, very nervous about public speaking. So when they're saying, hey, Carmine, my butterflies aren't just a few butterflies, they keep churning and churning, they get worse and worse and worse. And pretty soon I'm literally choking. I get dry. My heart is beating so fast I can't even speak. When people are having that kind of panic attack, What's happening, Nate?
Well, the panic attack is a combination of their body doing what nature has designed it to do and their minds getting wrapped around how uncomfortable they are and how wish they could just be feeling normal.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You're not doing something normal. Why would you expect to feel normal?
Interesting.
It's very valuable to be able to breathe and maybe slow yourself down a little bit, but think how important and how wonderful it is that your body gives you an energy lift just when you need it. Why don't we try making friends with that? And
I love that. I love the way you're framing it.
yeah, welcoming that feeling of your heart speeding up and welcoming the feeling of those butterflies, because it's an indication that A, you care about what you're doing, and it's an indication that your body is rising up to the challenge of the moment. And if you can look at it in those terms, then the symptoms recede a little bit and you're so much more comfortable.
And that's why, but all of these taken together work, going back to the mind-body connection. The fourth and final pillar of unshakable performance, the inconsistent and delayed returns of practice. Nate, I'm a big proponent, as you know, of practice and rehearsal, but what do you mean by accepting inconsistent and delayed returns of practice?
When we all start out new at some activity, whether it's learning a language, playing a sport, learning a musical instrument, because we're so new at it, our skill tends to increase pretty quickly right out of the gate. But at a certain point, that rate of return on the time and energy we invest in practice begins to level off. And now, instead of every practice session producing the same amount of result, things tend to slow down and we find ourselves on plateaus. And that's often when people become very frustrated. Hey, I'm not getting any better. Maybe I should just quit. What's actually happening during those plateaus is that your nervous system is indeed refining, rewiring. There's an upgrade going on. It's just like when your computer needs an upgrade of a program. It takes a little while for that upgrade to take effect. The human biocomputer is no different. Sometimes those upgrade processes take a while, and then you suddenly experience an aha moment, and your tennis serve is quicker, and your elocution is better, not because of that particular moment, but because of all the practice that you put in while you are on the plateau. Appreciate those plateaus, ladies and gentlemen. That's where the actual change is happening.
Nate, thank you so much. I really love the confident mind. I'm glad you wrote it. I know that you say that you were lucky to be a professor and a teacher at West Point, but the Army, U.S. Army, is also lucky to have you. Nate, thank you so much. It's a joy meeting you. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation, and my best wishes to all your listeners.
I hope you enjoyed mental toughness training the West Point way. Dr. Nate Zinsser is one of the top motivational psychologists in the country. He's the type of expert that I look for, the people who I strive to bring you each and every week. If you'd like to learn more about elevating your success, subscribe to Carmine Gallo TV. I'll bring you a new video every week. I'll see you next time.